Welcome back to the garden. Got a nice pretty afternoon. Got old Billy the kid and Porky the pig looking out over the garden for us. Got the tomatoes coming on fairly good. They growed quite a bit this last week. And this one I showed you that had the bloom. Well, it's a blooming. It looks like it's got quite a few more buds, about 6 or 8 under there. So that's the first time I've ever seen one do that. Remember the hanging pots that I made? Well, there's one with the pink geranium in it. It's looking well. And here's the other one. Got the red color on it. So I'm hoping that those are going to do well. Look pretty for me this summer. Impatiens are hanging in there. They still need a little more heat, but I think they're going to cover that bed up by the end of the summertime. And the shade bed is continuing to make progress. All of the dahlias are up, and you can see a whole lot of the gladiolas are coming on up now. These astilbes are getting bigger. And once again, the only thing I hadn't seen any of is the freesia. But everything else is doing well. I'm going to assume that they'll probably make it too. And we're fixing to have an explosion of color here around the tree. We already got several of them that are blooming out. Look how big they are. They're big as my hand. Big old blooms on them. Here we got a white one. And these over here probably also going to be white. And then I think the purple one's already bloomed. But you can see they've done really extraordinary this year. Looks like a pleasant little place to sit on the glider on a nice afternoon. That brings us to the blackberries. Once again, they are just full of white blooms. So, I'm gonna have to check that out. A little bumblebee. He's helping me out there with the pollination of them. They're gonna have to be either freezing some or figuring out what to do with them. There'll be a lot of them. And my sunflowers came up. Not real good, but they're doing all right. Now, if that is a morning glory, that's the only one I had, and he looks pretty pitiful, but that's about where I planted him. Same thing on this side. So what I did last week is I did order me 2 more packs of the morning glories from Baker Seed. They came in a couple of days ago, but I'm gonna wait till it gets pretty hot before I put them out and start over again. Well, let's sit down for a minute and take a look at the garden from the bench and the trellis that we got here. Well, I know right now it just looks like a bunch of wire cages down through there, but it won't be long till that'll all be filled up with vines and tomatoes and hopefully cantaloupes and watermelons and the tomato, not just the plant. Looking forward to it. And here's the peonies. They don't have any bloom buds on them, but the plant's looking pretty good. Here's the other one. I guess like everything else, it's a little bit behind. One of the projects I'm fixing to do, you see all this old weeds and stuff in the bed. I'm going to pull it out, clean it up, and maybe run the weasel across it a time or two to loosen up the dirt. Then I'm going to plant these asters in there. Pretty, I've never planted them before, so I don't really know how they'll grow or turn out, but there's nothing in there anyway, so put them in there and see what happens. And by the way, this is my little shop area I'm in here. Need to clean it up some. Been doing some projects, but it's a nice place to come in and do any kind of maintenance or whatever I need to do in the garden. I got all my stuff in here. And that's the garden report. Today's April 29th. Weather's getting a little bit warmer and prettier, so we're going to look forward to having some success.